This lesson is focusing on solving equations with variables on both sides. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to solve equations with variables on both sides and use the distributive property to solve equations. We want to make the distinction between combining like terms and property of inequality. And that just means when we have like terms, they're on the same side of the equation. So before we do anything, we add these together and make it 3x plus 4. Where on this side, we don't add them because they're on different sides of the equation. What we would have to do is subtract x from both sides. So to solve a multi-step equation, the first thing you want to do is distribute if you need to. If there's parentheses in there, you're going to have to distribute first. And then combine like terms. Those are terms that are the same variable, same power on the same side of the equal sign. Then we add or subtract so that we get constants on one side, variables on the other. And then we multiply or divide because we need that coefficient to be 1. Sometimes the equation has no solution. So we know that when we solve the equation and it ends in a false statement. For example, this 2n minus 4 equals 2n plus 6. When I subtract 2n from both sides, I get the statement negative 4 equals 6. Negative 4 does not equal 6, which means that there is not any number that we could put in for n and solve this equation. Other times, you have more than one solution, and we call that identity, and that means there's an infinite number of solutions. So again, we solve the equation, and we get down to a statement that is true. 7 equals 7. 7 does equal 7, so that means I can put any number in for m and be able to solve this. These are some words that we need to make sure you know when you're doing a word problem and what operation it is. One important one is this less or less than. So when it says 8 less 5, that means 8 minus 5. If it says 8 less than 5, it means 5 minus 8. All right, some examples. My first step here will be combining like terms. So m and negative 5m is negative 4m plus 3 equals 47. I subtract 3 from both sides. That equals 0. I get negative 4m equals 44. I divide both sides by negative 4. That is 1, so m equals negative 11. The second equation, we're going to have to do the distributive property first. So that gets us 9b minus 18 equals negative 63. I add 18 to both sides, so I'm going to do the inverse operation. That becomes 0. 9b equals negative 45. Divide both sides by 9, and I get b equals negative 5. In this third one, we're going to start with our distributive property. So I get 7 minus 3r equals r minus 8 minus 4r. Combine like terms on either side of the equation. Same variable, same power, same side. I get 7 minus 3r equals negative 3r minus 8. I add 3r to both sides. That becomes 0, that becomes 0. I get 7 equals negative 8. 7 does not equal negative 8. That means this is an empty set and there's no solution. This last one, again, we're starting with the distributive property. So I get 5h minus 7 equals 5h minus 10 plus 3. Combining like terms, negative 10 and positive 3, 5h minus 7 equals 5h minus 7. Subtract 5h from both sides, and I get negative 7 equals negative 7. That is a true statement So the solution for this one is all real numbers. All right, this one says solve your equation, check your solution. So the first thing I'm going to do on this first one is subtract the 15. So I get minus 15 from both sides. That gets me negative 7 equals c over negative 3. Right now the c is being divided by negative 3. The opposite inverse operation of that is to multiply by negative 3, which we both do to both sides, and that gets me c equals positive 21. On the second one, b, the first thing I would do is get rid of that fraction because no one likes fractions. So when I take 2 divided by 2, that gets 1. So 3a minus 1 equals 8. I add 1 to both sides. I get 3a equals 9. Divide both sides by 3, and I get a equals 3. If I check my answer, I can go back up here and put 3 divided by 3. Sorry, in this one. So 3, I put in 3 for a. So that's 9 minus 1 is 8. Divided by 2 is 4. That's how you check your answer. Write an equation, then solve, and then check. So when it says 2 times the sum of, that means 2, and then in parentheses, the sum of x plus 2 is the same as 5 less than. So 5 less than 3 times x means 3x minus 5. So I'll start by distributing. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. Equals 3x minus 5. Subtract 2x from both sides. Notice that I subtracted the 2x instead of subtracting the 3x. You can do either one. I just don't like a negative variable if I can help it. Then add 5 to both sides, and I get x equals 9. Mandy bought a DVD player, and the sales clerk said that if she pays $80 now, her monthly payments will be $32. The total cost will be $400. Write an equation to solve to find how many months it will take to make her payments. So she pays $80 up front, and then she pays $32 a month, and her total is $400. So to solve this, I would start by subtracting 80 from both sides, which leaves me 32x, this is 0, equals 320. Then I divide both sides by 32. That equals 1x equals 10. It will take her 10 months. Remember, if the question is in words, the answer needs to be in words. All right, just a quick review on these. First thing you want to do is distributive property. If you see parentheses, do that first. Then combine like terms, same variable, same power, same side. Add or subtract so you get variables on one side, constants on the other. Multiply or divide so you get your coefficient of 1, and check your solution. What's it called when an equation or inequality can never be true? When it's never true, it's an empty set. When it's always true, it's all real numbers or identity.